first time since we were.
New guy, we're ready.
Another Steven.
I forgot his name.
Steven. Or is it Michael?
No, Mike's the other guy. Two Mike.
We're on? Okay, good afternoon. It's 4:30 PM on Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. We'll call the City Council meeting of the City of New Ulm to order. Item number 1, consent agenda. Councillors, what are your wishes?
I'll offer a motion to approve those.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Item number 2.1, bed and breakfast license.
I'll offer the motion to approve the issuance of the bed and breakfast license renewal for the period beginning January 1, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022 for Shannon and Todd McKeith, Bingham Hall Bed and Breakfast, 500 South German Street, subject to compliance with all city requirements.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Just a quick question. We're seeing a lot more Airbnbs popping up in town. I know we had that discussion briefly, but Chris, are we, I can't remember what we said about that. Are we charging them? Are we notifying them that the requirement to submit funds for that?
They automatically do, so the Airbnb companies automatically submit.
And they
The
collect,
lodging
they
tax.
collect
Company
it.
sends it
Yeah,
to
the
them?
company does, yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Item number 2.2, temporary on-sale liquor license for New Ulm Area Catholic Schools Incorporated.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve the issuance of the temporary on-sale liquor license for New Ulm Area Catholic Schools to sell alcohol during the event to be held at St. Anthony Elementary School at 514 North Washington Street on Friday, January 21st, 2022, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Item number 3.1, summary of business conducted during board and commission meetings.
The only report I have on the chamber is our new chamber director is now on board. She might even be in the room, who knows? Sarah Warmka has started, and I know we're looking at the large and small business of the year right now, so that's in the process. They'll go out for a chamber vote here shortly. So officially welcome, Sarah, behind the post. That's all I have.
Any other updates?
I attended the HPC meeting last night, Heritage Preservation Commission. They did 2 approvals downtown in the historic district. One was a new awning replacement for the Sue Rothmeyer building, and I believe it was Foster Insurance right next to the bakery, the signage request. That was taken care of. I did attend the CVB meeting. I also got to meet the new director. Congratulations, Sarah. She's going to do a fine job. And I'm turning those reins over to the mayor. He will now be attending the CVB meetings. Park and Rec, we have donations coming up. They're going to give a lengthy report, so I'm not going to get into all that. That'll be a little later on the agenda.
Okay. Anything else?
From the zoning aspect, we had a work session last night from 4 to 6 again. We were working on chapters 10, second half of it on the signs. And then we're getting ready for the 30th of December here for our public hearing to adopt the new city ordinances. So.
That'll be good.
And Brown County Solid Waste had a meeting yesterday afternoon that they are, applying for a grant to renovate one of their buildings to make recycling of light bulbs, pesticides, things like that more available for the county. They are also have been petitioned by Blue Earth County to possibly start taking on some of their solid waste due to Blue Earth County is currently at their capacity, so they're reaching out to neighboring counties, but right now that all goes to the county for their approval, but all those were approved by us, so.
Oh, okay.
I'll just make mention that last Wednesday, Chris, Andrea, and myself went to the Highway 14 Partnership meeting in Owatonna, and surprisingly, we didn't die in the heavy fog. It was ridiculous.
Brutal.
But it's set to start in March or April of next year, this coming spring. I didn't realize, but it's going to go north of Cortland. but close enough that it won't like distance the town away from it. So it should retain, when towns get bypassed, it can really kill them. And then should end on my birthday in late October of the next year. That's what I'm holding as the date. But it was very promising. The president is a man who was on the Owatonna Chamber. And I was surprised that he was willing to serve, and he had the good attitude that all groups we all belong to, we hope they have, and that is, he said, when Owatonna started this, we were going to support Rochester till it ended in New Ulm, and we're going to stick with that, so hats off to him.
That's wonderful. Good,
Mm-hmm.
good news.
Good meeting, and we learned that really there's no, it's imminent. There's nothing else that's going to really stop the start of the construction, so.
So construction starts March of '23.
Yeah, March
March or
March
April.
or April, weather dependent, and yeah, so it's going to be different. There's going to be some pain there for a while, but I think it's going to be great, so. All right, any other updates? Excellent. We'll move on to item number 4.1, old business, 2022 City of New Ulm Budget and Property Tax Levy.
Councilors, this is the last step in the budget process. There was a public hearing held on December 7th. No public comments were made. No changes were made to the preliminary budget that was approved in September. This will be a 5.86% increase in the levy, and that should result in about just over a 3% increase in the tax rate for the city.
Any other little spots to cut along the way? Huh? All right.
Actually, we cut like $40 out when we got the insurance rate. Yeah.
All helps. I'm going to go ahead and offer the resolution, waive the reading, adopting the final 22 budget for the city of New Ulm, totaling $22,978,459 with a total property tax levy of $8,750,205 and a city net New Ulm net property tax levy of $8,593,205.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I want to just point out to the viewers that'll be watching this, this is an 84-page document. And the reality is that I can't believe that all of the councilors, it's not myself, read that and checked every figure. And what that speaks to is good quality department heads and finance and city administrator people that we can trust there. I mean, you look it over, but you can't verify 84 pages worth of numbers. You have to trust good people doing their job.
I agree.
Nice job to our finance director, well, and the whole staff.
Yeah, not just me.
Yep, no, I think it was, considering, what we have to work with, I think it's an excellent job. We all know that next year is going to bring about more change as well, so, I know you'll have your work cut out for you there also. So we do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion is carried. Item number 5.1, a general wage adjustment for non-unionized city employees.
Hi, thank you, President Becker and Councilors. Shauna Boomgarden, Human Resources Director. I'm looking for the council to approve a general wage adjustment for non-unionized full-time and part-time employees of 2.5% effective January 1st. We are looking at that implementation of the new wage study for part-timers would actually go into effect in January 1st also, as it's only about a 0.5% increase. And as discussed, the full-time employees the new wage study will go into effect on July 1st or when they're due their next wage step. So that's what I would look for approval.
I'll move the request.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion's carried. Thank you, Shauna. Item number 5.2, airport furnace and air conditioner replacement.
Madam President, City Councilors, the city will be receiving $32,000 in ARPA funding for the uses at the airport, and that's related to the combatant of pathogens and debt service payments at the airport. So with the notification of receiving that, we solicited quotes for the replacement of the two remaining furnaces that are the original units in the terminal building as they are nearing the end of their useful lives. We received numerous quotes for this work and are recommending the low quote from GSM to replace this.
I'll motion to award the contract to Gog Sheet Metal Incorporated in the amount of $15,700 to replace furnace and air conditioner units number 1 and 3 at the terminal building of the New Ulm Municipal Airport. Authorize the city engineer to execute the contract on behalf of the city.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Item number 5.3, Minnesota Autism Parking Center request.
Council President.
Look what I did now.
Before you have a request from the Minnesota Autism Center for 3 parking spots located in front of North Minnesota Street to have pickup and drop-off hours for the school. The school services individuals that are on the autism spectrum from 18 months to 21 years of age. They are looking for 3 spots. It'll be in front of Roger's old office, and they will have hours, would like the drop-off hours in the morning to be from 8:15 to 9:30, and then in the afternoon, the pickup from 4:15 to 5 o'clock. We met with Carrie from the Minnesota Autism Center. Joe and I met with her to talk about, how this would work, and so they would put signs out in the morning to let people know. They would pick them up, put them back in their building, and then put them back out in the afternoon. So it would be just temporary pickup and drop off in the downtown location. Joe and myself, we don't see any issue with allowing that to occur down there because it is children that have special needs that need to have that short distance and that same routine every day for pickup and drop off. And it shouldn't disrupt weekend, activities down there. It would really just be the afternoon, but since it's the 3 spots in front of Roger, near Roger's old office, it shouldn't be an issue because it's not taking up any other parking in front of any other store.
So say that again, Chris. They would be, tell me about how this is going to work again. They're going to,
So they would,
morning?
Yeah, so in the morning they would put 3 signs out, up to them, whether it's, some type of cone with a sign on it, but they'll have 3 signs in front of the 3 parking spots in front of their building. And then in the afternoon, probably around 2:30 or so, re-put the signs back out to say, hey, pick up for the school.
So they would really have 3 clients coming in all at the same time into the building?
It's a
Is that
school
possible?
for pickup and drop off. It's just like any other school has multiple cars coming in. So cars would come, the parents would get out, allow the kid to walk from the car to the teacher or counselor. Parents would get in their car, drive away, and then the next parent would come in to drop off their kids. So they're not all coming at the same time in between that window of 8:15 and 9:30.
So what's our parking needs downtown, middle of the day?
They wouldn't have the
Well,
spots blocked.
It would just be for morning and evening, or
Morning and
morning and
evening.
late afternoon for 45-minute windows.
So they would maybe put the signs out around, 3 o'clock to let them know from 4:15 to 5 o'clock there'd be no parking.
And then the morning would be how long?
8:15 to 9:30.
Yeah, so about 7:30, they'd put the signs out just to let
I
people know.
want to comment on the morning one. I get on Minnesota Street every morning. The morning to me is minute.
Yeah.
There is,
It would be
Evening's going to be tight, but
I guess, with,
necessary.
how do we, what if there is somebody there and they're downtown longer and they're in that spot and they put the easel out there and they're there yet?
Is it 2-hour parking during the day?
Yeah, it's 2 hour
So if they put it
But,
out by
you know, I mean,
2:15,
is
that
that-
spot should be open by 4:15.
Did they talk at all about the alley?
That is something
An option?
they would look at, if this doesn't work, or you decide you don't want to do this, that's something else they would look at. But again, that's, walking a child that has special needs around a corner. I mean, again, doable, and they would do that for some of the kids, but there are some that need that shorter distance to walk.
Carrie also indicated that it really depends on the needs of the student. So if they're able to traverse that distance from the alley to the building, they would do that.
I'm just thinking, and we might want to just have a permanent sign there that just kind of states, you know, these particular hours yet, and then they still put theirs up, because that way people are aware of it. You know, they roll in at 2 o'clock or something and park, and
Yeah, the morning doesn't sound like it's so much of a concern, but
But
the
it's just the
afternoon, when we have
afternoons.
shoppers, and now we're taking 3 more spots away? That there's not any other options, the back of the building, the side of the building?
or if the sign is stated maybe for special deliveries between, or, you know,
And are we going to
deliveries
set
or
a precedent
drop-offs.
where anybody else might come in and say, we want a spot too for our special needs folks? I mean, I don't know.
I would listen to that less, okay, tell me what the special need is. We offer handicap, we offer, I believe we do have delivery-only parking downtown. I'm willing to give it a try.
Yeah.
If
I
it
think
turns
it's
into-
worth entertaining, but I
Right.
think it's gonna be a learning curve. And, you know, I think if we can address it up front and just put a sign at those 3 stalls at Monday through Friday, these hours that they're asking. And, you know, my concern is if they go to put their sign out, what if one day someone forgets to put the sign out, or the sign blows away, it's in the public right away? But I
Do
just.
they really need 3? They didn't come in, I mean, did they ask for 3, but they could live with 2?
In my mind, the 3, if one is taken, or, well, you know what's gonna happen at the start of it. Somebody's there past the 2-hour limit, you still have the 2. If they bat 3 for 3, great.
I mean,
P&L traffic on a Friday, not to be humorous, is pretty intense down there, and that could be an issue.
Yeah.
But it is a public street.
Right.
This does keep the kids the safest too,
Mm-hmm.
right from point A to point B.
you know, we have a unique opportunity for a new business to come to town too, and, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, look at
on
that
those
too.
capacities, and, you know,
So I'd be nervous with putting permanent signage up if they don't stay there for more than a year. Now we have, but permanent, yeah. This doesn't cost us anything.
If it's a permanent sign, I'd have a problem with that too, because what
Right.
if there's, on days there's nothing going on there? You don't need that sign there on those days. So I'd be really against any type of permanent sign.
And when Joe and I talked to the school, they were amenable to, you know, a portable sign of some sort to put in and out.
So if we approve 2, would that work? Or did they come in pretty adamant they needed a full 3 spots? That seemed like a lot.
They were pretty adamant on 3. I mean, we can see what they say to 2, but they were pretty adamant that this is
I'd
what they
prefer
would
we
need.
start with 2 and give them another one down the road if they need it, but.
Chris, what kind of numbers on the enrollment are they looking at for their program?
This will be a new school that they're going to start in the first quarter, so I'm sure it'll be, you know, might be fairly small to begin with, but I know they're going to ramp up fairly quickly.
Well, I mean, maybe if we agree to the 3 stalls, but just, you know, kind of pyramid it and just start with 1 or 2 and until their needs meet their full capacity.
I just can't believe they're all going to come in exactly at the same time. And I suppose it depends on how long it takes to unload the students. I don't know. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal of it, but
Do we want to put a timeline on it where we give it a try for 6 months and then revisit it for something more permanent or something different?
well, if it's the end of the school
I mean, it's going to be
year-
winter too, and then you're bringing in special needs kids in, you know.
Chris, is this a year-round program, or?
Yes, it is.
I would be in favor of trying it for 6 months, reevaluate in June, you know, 22.
To maybe see what the needs
Yeah, you know.
are.
I'm not making a motion.
For a 6-month period, see where it's at and take a reassessment in June?
Can we do that?
Can we do that, or is that not?
I mean, just to see if there's a need for, you know, to see if some, a more permanent signage, you know, would be something to look at.
If that was what you
know,
were
if
trying
all
to,
3 spots are needed, or, you
yeah,
know.
if
I
that's
don't
what
know.
you were trying to,
Oh.
you know, reevaluate at the end of the day. Oh, go ahead.
I was hoping to keep silent on this. we're in the process of attempting to sell our building, and I've had nothing to do with negotiating with this tenant. But my understanding is from the potential buyers is that this is a key element to them renting. And I don't know if 6 months
Okay.
is going to do it for them. That could mess up them doing this.
Okay.
So to the extent I understand the reasons for considering that option, but I think their preference is they need to know if they're going to have this parking or not for the children. So just so the council's aware of that.
No, that's a very fair point.
But as the mayor said, at night, that downtown area, that block is full. And now you're gonna sit there with 3 empty stalls for that 40 feet. You don't think anybody's gonna be pulling right on in there? And now we got a mess. So I don't know if they've talked about that.
That would be, again, that's what the hours are there for. I mean, they're only going to be, and again, those 3 spots from 4:15 to 5 aren't going to be vacant. There's going to be parents picking up their kids. And then at 5 o'clock, all bets, it's open up to everyone at that point.
I don't have an issue in that afternoon with the 45-minute window.
Yeah, that's just.
Authorize the 3 parking stalls in front of 11 North Minnesota Street for the Minnesota Autism Center between the hours of 8:15 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. and 5 p.m. during the weekdays of Monday through Friday.
I'll second. There's motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Does this enter us into a legal obligation, I mean, so we granted this, but, say in a year, we might need to tweak it, or we could tweak this down the line as needed, possibly?
We can bring it back. I mean, it is public
But-
parking and you're just
Yeah.
granting it.
Yeah, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to be,
The city always controls the parking in the
Okay.
streets, and you've got the right to change that. Yeah.
Yep.
Any additional discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried. Item number 5.4, community events.
Councilors, this is an annual request. It's just there so that when they have these events, they have the ability to get liquor permits to cover the span of their event. Otherwise, they can only get one temporary per month. That doesn't last long enough to cover most of those festivals.
I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading, designating the following community events for 22 to adhere to the provisions of Minnesota Statute 340A.410 subdivision 10, which allows cities to have more than one temporary liquor license with a 30-day period. Bavarian Blast, Bachfest, Brown County Fair, Fasching, Hermanfest, MyFest, and Oktoberfest.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Director,
Is My Fest a thing anymore, Sarah? I don't believe it is.
I know it wasn't for a little bit, but I'm not sure.
All right, well, then leave it alone.
Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker.
Yes, motion is carried. Item number 5.5, designation of 2022 election polling places.
Counselors, we have to appoint or have to designate polling places every year. And Ward 4 has been one that's been changing over the last few years because of the park and rec construction and just trying some other things. We're just looking for your input. We could go back to the rec center like we've always done in the past. At this point, we're a little concerned about the size of the room we'd be using and the traffic that would be in and out of there if we have to still have COVID distancing rules in place. Both St. John's Lutheran and Our Savior's Lutheran feel that they're sure their counselors will approve having that space, letting us use that space for elections, and they both have larger rooms. That would give us a little more freedom, and then the rec center isn't disrupted either for their fitness schedules and stuff for those 3 days. We were just kind of looking for some input from you for that Ward 4 designation, whether or not we should go back to the rec center or if we want to try using Our Savior's or St. John's again.
The most important thing to me is that there's going to be adequate parking and that there's not safety issues created like there was in the past. If the church is willing to host us, I think that seemed to be a good location. I live in the 4th Ward, and that's where I vote, and I think it's tended to be an easy in and out and not super full.
It seemed to work really well. Our Savior's, I think, has the advantage of if they park in that front, it's all one level, they wouldn't, actually, I don't know. I think there's an elevator. I'm not sure how that would go, but, so,
There is an elevator from the basement in the back lot too, but I think our Saviors might be the better vote for that.
and they should both work with the redistricting that we're working on, but,
Okay. So you think that those would be in the new ward then,
yeah.
perhaps?
yeah.
Okay.
And they don't have to be in the ward, they have to be close.
Yeah.
St. John's was kind of right on that border anyway,
Yeah.
but there's not a lot of other choices within that ward either.
Okay. We'll have to build another polling place. No. But there would be no change to the others. And then do you need a resolution for us to assign a specific location for Ward 4?
Would like a second choice listed as well.
Okay.
So that if one of their church councils come back, that's what you go with for the first choice. If the church council comes back and says, no, we don't want you to use that space, we would have that second choice as well.
And so first we would be looking at St. John's and then second Our Saviors as a backup.
Other way around.
Oh, Our Saviors first and St. John's as a backup?
That's,
I'm fine with that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on. Offer the resolution, waive the reading, designated 2022 election polling places to Redeemer Lutheran Church for Ward 1, New Ulm Community Center for Ward 2, the New Ulm Civic Center for Ward 3, and Our Saviors. And the backup will be St. John's, you said, for Ward 4?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack,
Yes.
Counselor Christian.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Warmka.
Yes.
And President Becker.
Yes, that motion is carried. Item number 5.6, liquidation of Emma Gebser Fund.
Council President, Councilors, before you have a request from the New Ulm Area Foundation to liquidate the Emma Gebser Fund that is currently administered by St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation. So this was created back in 1990, or before 98, but was given to the Minnesota Community Foundation, better known as the St. Paul Minnesota Foundation. At the time, the New Ulm Area Foundation didn't have their 501c3 status and didn't have a way to administer that fund. But in April of 2019, they did receive their 501c3 determination from the IRS, and they do have the ability to administer those funds in-house. And so they're requesting that we liquidate the Emma Gebser Fund with St. Paul Minnesota Foundation and transfer it to the New Ulm Area Foundation for local administration. And there's about $17,837 in there.
And I'm positive the city attorney, no issues with this?
Well, I wasn't involved in 1998 when this agreement was put in place.
How about the 1949?
Yeah, I was here for that. And so I'm not sure exactly what the terms of that were. I understand it was designated for particular uses, and
We receive an annual payment from the fund of about $400, and it's divided between St. Nick's Night, something with Park and Rec, I think, and one other thing. I forgot. Library materials, there we go.
as long as and I'm sure the New Ulm Area Foundation would be distributing this consistent with the wishes of the donor, so under those circumstances, there shouldn't be an issue with it.
I'm fine with it. I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading to request the St. Paul and Minnesota Foundation consider liquidation for the Emma Geisert Fund with the balance of $17,837 on 10/31/2021 to be transferred to the New Ulm Area Foundation for local administration.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack,
Yes.
Counselor Christian.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Warmka.
Yes.
And President Becker.
Yes, that motion is carried. Item number 5.7, petition court to appoint city charter commission member.
opening statement, I have one question for the city attorney. This is for filing the petition, right? Does the council have to make the decision tonight on the two applicants?
Yes, the way that the process works is there's an open seat that Sue Kimmel had filled. And we need to have someone appointed by the chief judge of the 5th Judicial District to replace her. And so I would need to know the identity of who that person is. Once we have the recommendation from the council, then I can complete the petition, get that submitted to the judge, and then they would issue an order doing the formal appointment. So we would then have a complete commission to have the Charter Commission convene, because there's a number of issues that they're supposed to be addressing, but we should have a full commission when they meet to do so. So we have two very good candidates here, and it's going to be your call to decide who you would like to recommend the judge appoint.
There was a third candidate, Ruth Ann Webster, who publicly stated she wanted to be part of this commission and has since dropped and has put her support behind Carl Seidler. So just wanted to make that, so people want to know what happened to her, that's the reason. There's also a question whether or not we could appoint both. And it's 11-member charter commission, so we can't. It's 11 members, it's not 12, so we can't do that, so.
I think there's reasons to have an odd number of members anyway, in case. We've never had a problem with the vote, but you don't want to have a tie vote.
I read the letters. I think they're both excellent candidates. I would be fine with either.
I agree. I think you have to look at both candidates. You have Carl, who's worked for the city and the law enforcement department for many years, and then in HR for quite a number of years, knows the city, knows the rules, and would be a large impact. And then we have Michelle Markgraf, who was runner-up for mayor, and people really liked her new ideas and a new fresh voice to the city. So we're not going to go wrong with whichever one we pick. It's just, I think, whatever, as a group, we decide we want to do.
What would be the term if they're appointed right now? Because they're currently filling an unexpired term of Sue Kimmel. Is that how this would work?
Yeah.
Correct.
And then that would be
April of 2022, we do it again.
April of 2022, we would do it
I
again.
think the intention was to try to have a Charter Commission meeting in the month of December, and that, for a number of reasons, is not going to happen. But I know that there are these issues that people want answers to. And so we'd like to get the commission meeting as soon as we could.
Absolutely.
And there's originally the intention of trying to meet this year, but that's not going to happen, Roger, is it? By the time you get the judge to sign, approve the new person?
No, I mean, it's December 21st. So if you have a decision today.
I don't know if you had a
Couple of
special
holidays
doorway in there or something.
No, I don't.
So we'll be meeting in January then sometime probably, right?
Presumably, depending upon when the judge issues the order. 50 days, and as you know, some of them are quicker than others.
All right, I'll speak. With my involvement in the League of Women Voters, I did know that Carl was very helpful and was interviewed for one of the charter questions, I guess, that was broached about something, and I did appreciate all of his answers on things in the background that he provided, and understanding that there needs to be clarity, that whatever the rules are in that charter, they need to be clear. Based upon that, I think he would be an excellent choice for this position. I know Michelle is here today. I know you would be absolutely wonderful as well. I know you've been getting very involved in things as well. But for tonight, for this particular position, my recommendation would be Carl.
I'm going to just say I don't have a problem with either of the candidates. I think they both would do us a good job. I appreciate that we have a couple candidates to choose from, but it's always, we have to go down to one on those aspects. But I appreciate the enthusiasm.
And Roger, we need to make a choice on this today?
Well, I can't do the petition until we have a recommendation. So,
Okay.
I mean, you can table it. if
Is
you
there
want
any
to.
other clarification that counselors are looking for based upon the information provided?
I mean, I usually study my agenda very well, and I had read that at the top, saw the applicants, and that's why I asked our city attorney that if that decision was tonight or filing it, because you're right, they're both good candidates.
I don't know what putting it off would take. I think we're just gonna have.
Right.
I was trying to think about who's all on the current charter and again, I see both of them fitting in well. I don't see,
I agree.
I see that new vision from Michelle but yet that experience from Carl and we do have some people that are on the charter that do have that background and experience. So I think I lean a little more towards Michelle having that newer vision and ideas and wanting to get in, and has been actively coming to our meetings and for over almost a year now. And so I think I lean a little bit stronger that way, but.
I'm going to make an open comment. I hear this once in a while with boards and commissions. Our charter commission, no offense, is very overloaded with male representation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just had a glance at that. I guess I'm one of those that always says about the new blood, new ideas, outside the box, looking in.
And I would be on favor of what Les was saying too. I think sometimes it's nice to have different insight, different experiences to help change things. So I would lean more towards Michelle.
Major issues to resolve. We really don't this
No.
time. No. We did in the past when we met
No.
before, but.
Maybe.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what somebody might bring up.
Anything? Okay, so just, and I would be 100% in support of Michelle as well. Not just because she's a lady, but because I know she has great ideas as well.
I'm going to go ahead and offer resolution, waive the reading and directing the city attorney prepare and file a petition requesting the district court to appoint Michelle Markgraf to fill the unexpired term of Sue Kimmel.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
And I want to thank Carl for applying. I did talk to Carl on the phone. He really passionate about wanting to be involved and like I said, I think he would have done an excellent job and he's certainly, it's an open meeting, right, Roger? Charter's an open meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
So
Sure.
he's still certainly welcome to come and be in the audience and participate as well, so.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion's carried. Congratulations, Michelle. Welcome. Thanks. All right, item number 5.8, quantity of members on Park and Rec Commission.
I was in attendance at the Park and Rec Commission meeting, but I am going to ask Director Schmitz to come up and present it. No, I was there and voted, and it took place.
Schmitz, Park and Recreation Department. Counselors, you have before you a recommendation that was unanimously passed a week ago by the Park and Recreation Commission to simply reduce the number of members on the Park and Rec Commission from 9 to 7. You have some information in the packet here with a little bit of history. The recommendation is before you to simply authorize this change from 9 to 7 members.
Have there been times, Tom, when there's not been a quorum?
That has not been a problem, no. It's not a quorum issue. It's a getting 9 people together versus 7 people together for work sessions and other aspects of our business.
And a comment at the Park and Rec meeting, they unanimously voted for it. There wasn't any negative discussion about it at all.
So what would this mean, Tom, that the folks rotating off of the the commission would just simply not be replaced at this time? Is that what we're
Correct,
looking at?
correct. There are
Okay.
2 people terming off, so this would be a simple, easy, great time to make this, paperwork change, so to speak.
Sure.
That
The
will
mayor
not
would-
affect anyone.
Mayor would be off the hook for a year.
Madam President, the terms would end at the end of this calendar year?
Yes,
They are done. Both of them are done.
December 31st
December 31st.
of this year, 2021.
I will say that I do support this because I do believe that some of our committees and commissions have kind of, swelled over the past couple of years. And I think that, at least from conversations that I've had with folks, that having somewhat smaller groups leads to more engagement and more involvement in some of these committees and commissions, that it really, and so one of the things that I'm hoping to see over the next couple of years is less terms that we have to fill because people leave during unexpired terms. And so I think that, I will say I am in support of this.
And being I'm the Park and Rec liaison, I'm going to authorize a change in quantity of members on the Park and Rec Commission from 9 to 7 and direct an ordinance to be prepared for 2 considerations, including the option simply changing the word 9 to 7 in subdivision 1 of section 3.22 in the city code.
I'll second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schmitz. Item number 5.9, request for proposals for legal services.
Council President, councilors, before you, you have 2 requests for proposals, one for city attorney legal services and one for city prosecution services. Blythe and Barron's Law Office, who is our current city attorney, has given their notice of termination. That will effectively end their agreement on November 10th of 22 at 11:59 p.m. And so I would want to get these requests for proposals out for services. I split it into 2 so the county could potentially apply for prosecution services, but a firm could essentially submit applications for both. We would be looking at putting these out January 10th. Proposals would be due February 25th. Staff would review, and that would be the city's executive management team would review. Starting March 11th, we would do interviews potentially the week of March 21st. Recommendation to City Council would come April 5th. Then we would enter into contract negotiations and bring the contract for consideration back to council on May 3rd with an effective date potentially of June 1st of 22.
Thank you, Chris.
All looks good if people apply, but I have a very serious concern that we're not going to get a lot of requests, and I think we're going to have a serious problem on our hands.
Well, this would be the first step.
First step.
First step.
Right.
But I think we might need to all be thinking about alternative options or recruiting or whatever. I mean, maybe Roger can give us some advice on that down the road, but because there's not a lot of folks that do prosecution. So if it could be somebody new coming into town that maybe wants to hang a shingle and start prosecution possibly. But we also could talk about the idea of doing an internal position, which would be somebody working at City Hall or a couple people doing prosecution and the civil stuff. I think that's another alternative that we might need to take a look at. I agree, let's follow the process here, but I mean, we'll know in February if there's nothing there. We need to start scratching the dirt and start all over again, so hopefully.
And again, this had no role in the decision regarding this contract. But one of the things that could happen here is, I'm not frankly aware of any local law offices that would be likely to be applying it. Certainly, you might have a number of them. But I just think the reality is that there are fewer offices than there used to be. One of the things that is happening outstate is that there are metro offices who are contracting. Mankato is actually using an office, I believe, out of Stillwater.
Yep.
So you may get some proposals along those lines, and that's going to be a real different arrangement because there's not going to be somebody in New Ulm all the time who can come with staff. So that might make it a more difficult decision for the council if you want to take a crack at that or not. But this would.
More attractive, Roger, do you think, for attorneys that if they were a New Ulm City employee, had a city office, city paycheck versus, a firm like you had before? I mean, you think that'd be attractive to maybe a single person attorney in town? I don't know.
Possibly, I think one of the concerns there, quite frankly, is if it would not be somebody in the community now, whether it's a public law job or a private law job, the ability to get any attorneys to work outstate is really hard. They all want to live in the metro. I mean, they can't hire attorneys in Mankato.
Yeah.
Much less New Ulm, and the further outstate you get, the harder it is. So it's not easy, but this would be the first step to take.
We'll be lucky.
And as you pointed out, but you'll know by the end of February if you've got
Right.
candidates.
So where will we be advertising to? Just Indeed.com? Do we go way out? Is there legal publications?
So what I did is I'm reaching out to LMC, Flannery and Hood to see if they have list of city attorney services that we can send out. I've also reached out to Mankato to see where they sent their RFPs to as well, and directly send to those firms. So we'll have different ways to get it out.
Thank you.
We got to start the process, so I'll make the motion to authorize a request for proposals for legal services and city prosecution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion's carried. Item number 5.10, opioid settlement memorandum of agreement.
Council President and Councilors, before you have the memorandum of agreement for the opioid settlement that the state has been working on for quite some time. And so by us joining this settlement agreement, we're giving up, our right to sue the individual companies individually, which is be part of the class action for the state. And there are two settlement agreements that we would like to join, and that's the National Opioid Settlement, and that's from the distributors, and the National Opioid Settlement for the Janssen Company. And to be part of this, we have to have these signed by January 2nd, so I'll be signing these if approved tonight, along with the memorandum of agreement, which is provided by the state. So with the state, they're looking about getting $300 million from the settlement, but the more cities that sign on, the larger that pool becomes, because that's less money that the companies have to set aside for individual litigation. Attorney General Keith Ellison has been working pretty hard on this, and this is a pretty good agreement for everyone at the end of the day. And so what would happen is we would get a direct allocation to use for rehab and mitigation programs. And if we aren't able to use that money on our own, we do have the ability to turn it over to the county to assist them in their public health programs. So that's another side that we have if we're not able to find ways to use that funds on our end.
My understanding was that I think because we're a city between 10,000 and 30,000, that the funds would actually be turned over to county public health. And I thought that they then had to meet with all the cities in the county to discuss how they would be used, and it would be coordinated. But I don't know that there'll be a payment directly to the city of New Ulm. But we need to get
on board.
We have to authorize Chris to be able to sign these so that we would get that.
I'm still okay with it. I mean, the Minnesota Counties, League of Minnesota Cities Coalition, of which we are members of all, are all on board with it. I'm going to offer the resolution, waive the reading to authorize the city manager to execute the Minnesota Opioids State Subdivision Memorandum of Agreement, the Distributor Subdivision Settlement Participation Form, and the Janssen Subdivision Settlement Participation Form, whatever the forms are.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Councilor Mack?
Yes.
Councilor Christian?
Yes.
Councilor Schultz?
Yes.
Councilor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion is carried. Item number 5.11, New Ulm Police Department policies.
members of the council. Dave Borkert, I'm the Chief of Police for the City of New Ulm. I'm joined by Commander Barstead with the Police Department. We're, in front of you, you'll see that we have, there was quite a bit of reading probably over the weekend. If anybody was having a hard time sleeping, there's plenty there. There's essentially 41 policies that we had forwarded. That's realistically a third of the batch. When I became police chief, and I had shared that through the process, one area that I really thought needed some updates, some upgrades, was our policies. They hadn't been really properly updated for years. And especially now, since 2018, this particular issue is really kind of a hot issue. We're getting a lot of requests for changes, from the state, and I just think there would be an advantage that we move forward with this. Like I said, there's quite a bit of policies there, and it's essentially a third of them, so there's more coming. And I guess at this point, if there's any particular questions regarding that, our leadership team, which is myself, the commander, and our sergeants, literally reviewed all of the policies, and we've gone through that process. There's you'll see there was a lot of changes because we included all the changes when we get the Lexipol. Lexipol was purchased in late 2019, and we started the process from there. Lexipol, there's some solidarity with other agencies. 85 of the 87 counties, sheriff's offices, use Lexipol, and several agencies within Minnesota, municipalities use it as well. And that's just in Minnesota. Nationwide, it's a very common vendor as far as this process, as far as policy upgrades. Essentially, whenever there's an upgrade, or if there's a suggestion with case law changes within Minnesota, if there's some statutory changes, or post board peace officer standard and training is post. If there's recommendations from them, we basically get suggestions or updates as far as maybe suggested language. So the policies have become kind of a little bit of a fluid document. I expect that there's going to be continual changes with certainly probably a lot within the next couple of years. So if this was essentially approved, if would be any type of changes or anything like that, you'll probably see my face again. But hopefully there isn't that large amount of policies being recommended at that time. So I guess with that, as far as my intro, is there any particular questions or anything that I can address? Or again, we have Commander Barstead here as well. I'll certainly try to answer any and all your questions.
Dave, does our city attorney review this also?
We forward quite a bit of our, essentially our policies to the city attorney, and I believe at this point we have 17 that have been reviewed and thoroughly reviewed.
I think I've reviewed the ones that are before you tonight, so we have gone through those. So.
Okay.
Dave, is there you mentioned it was you and Commander Barstead. Is there a patrol officer on this committee as well that looks at these policies along with you, or is it mostly just higher end staff?
It's the higher end staff. And it was represented very well during these committee meetings, but it's all the sergeants. Again, the commander, Commander Barstead's done a very nice job leading that effort. He's applied a lot of work on it.
Policies are fun.
And then myself, but yeah, to answer your question, that
Okay, I was just
the
wondering.
leadership team.
The other question I had, I don't know if where this question goes to, but we're reviewing the police department's policies and procedures, but yet we really don't approve anybody else's policies and procedures. Why do we do the police department? Like, we don't do the highway department, we don't do, their policy and
I
procedures.
don't know if they have, I've never heard that they have any.
They don't have
I'm just
any.
curious, I was just thinking about that, like, we don't.
The only policies and procedures I know are the general employee guidelines that the Human Resources Director
The
does.
street department,
And this.
Street, that would fall under the city or the PUC. So we have the city and the PUC, and then the police is separate. Is that right?
Yeah, because most employees fall under the personnel policy.
I mean, we have one other one that might be close. I'm bringing up ancient history, but the bylaws of the fire department, which hopefully that comes in front of us soon, that we're going to change that.
Yep.
And get rid of them.
Different
Right,
critter entirely.
right.
And then the emergency operation plans, the EOP, but that's, those aren't, they're policies. But I've also come in front of you regarding them if we have any changes.
There have been financial department policies too that have come before you in the past, like the purchasing policy. They don't change very often,
right.
so they probably don't stand
I
out.
appreciate the work on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, very detailed work, and I appreciate being somebody who writes policies. I know they're not fun, but they're critically important. I'm gonna go ahead and offer a motion to approve the updated New Ulm Police Department policies, providing framework and guidance for the New Ulm police officers' response to calls for service and general personal conduct, both off-duty and on-duty, effective after formal approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Yeah. Dave, I'm sure this is just a formatting issue, but even like the second line, the word "and" is "a" and then "nd" over here. That will come, you don't want to hand this to somebody to read.
And it's not in that format. We had a formatting a issue, Mayor, regarding, and I think the next time we're gonna share this with you, we'll actually have like a website, or a link that you're gonna be able to hit, which is gonna be, the formatting issues won't be like that. But when we had talked with other city staff, they highly recommended that we attach to everything, because that, as far as data retention, that link could be out of date in 5 years from now.
I think for purposes of having the council consider it, they need to get it in a format that could be printed, not just a link. They need to get the actual data itself.
Would it be okay if we included a link in addition to, just as far as their
Could
reading
supplement
pleasure?
it, but you need to keep doing it the way you're doing it.
Okay.
So,
And that was the reason, Mayor, is because for the retention, just as Attorney Heppard had.
And that's me, many years working with Sharon Weinkoff at the chamber, where proofreading is, you got to do it.
Yeah, it was, I apologize about that. It was hard to read, but that's all a formatting issue. It's,
I figured that.
Yeah.
that's not how the finished product would look.
I will say I did read through it, and there's just, and to think that that's only 1/3 of, what the responsibilities that you guys have and do. And I just want to take a moment again just to thank you guys, thank the police officers for all of the work they do, because, wow, just reading through, you need to have policies and procedures, how you respond to every call. And so I found it really intriguing and educational to read through as well. As fun with the formatting issue, but I just wanted to make those comments.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I just want to say you're doing a good job, and I appreciate that you're on top of it and continuously looking to them, looking at it for improvements.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right. If no other discussion, those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Item number 5.12, Park and Rec donations.
Okay, since Les is not going to offer to do it this evening, I'll do it again. Offer the resolution, waive the reading, accepting donations offered to the city of Nome through the Park and Rec Department as outlined. German Park Performing Arts Amphitheater improvements, $300 from Florian and Rose Dietrich, $500 from Carl and Patricia Price, and $1,000 fulfilling her 3-year, $3,000 pledge total from Ruth McCrae Simpson. German Park Pavers and Improvements, $200 honoring Sam Jacobson from Mike Jacobson, $200 honoring Sue Christensen from Sue's Friends in class of 1988, $200 honoring Colonel Donald Rodewald from Ronald and Joyce Rodewald, $200 honoring the 60th wedding anniversary from Florian and Rose Dietrich, Herman Heights Park Paver Stones and Improvements, $200 honoring Daryl Horseman from Sandra Holbrook with a total of $2,800 in cash and checks.
Thank you.
Mayor will send out the thank yous.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Bedker?
Yes, that motion's carried. Item number 5.13, donation to the fire department.
I'll take the easy one. Offer a resolution, waive the reading, accepting a $1,000 donation from Sylvia Ofterheide.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion is carried, and with no additional new business, this meeting is adjourned. We will move into a work session to follow. Thank you.
Your record is a matter that's private.